Yes. I love it.
Darah, Wiley, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Yes, it's my pleasure.
Mine too. So can you tell everyone, okay, this is never an easy question, even though it's a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
Who you are in this world, what your story is.
I'm only my age and my favorite color. No, I am...
And your sign, right?
Oh, my sign. Okay, so my husband's going to love that. I'm on the cusp. I am January 19, so I'm on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. And my grandma used to tell me that I'm real jacked up because I'm an earth sign and a water sign together, but...
Those are positive attributes,
right.
Actually.
Who am I? I am a stand-up comedian. I am a stay-at-home mom. I am a wife and a writer. I am... Smiley is a word that I'm thinking of tonight. I'm just like really happy. But I can also be like very sad, which inspires a lot of my comedy in a weird way.
Do you think that's true for a lot of comedians?
Yeah. I think that a lot of people lean into their darkness in a creative way to kind of scream, I'm sad, you know, but to make everybody laugh because it is easy. I think because feeling is so easy to kind of stick a finger in, kind of the way, you know, like a fart joke is funny because everybody does it,
right.
And so sadness is funny because everybody can be quite sad at times.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's like that universal feeling that we all, you know, no matter who we are, we all have sadness of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also the co-creator of Shifting Lenses, which me and my husband brought to fruition after the 2016 election, just kind of bringing an answer instead of running away from a problem. I was pregnant at the time with our first and only person, and I just felt trapped, and so it's kind of like our scream in the dark to find where our people are, or people that are willing to listen, which is the same thing. I'm not saying that our people are the only people that believe in what we believe, but people that are willing to fight with their truths to get to an understanding. Because a lot of our truths are kind of make-believe to make us feel comfortable. But if you grapple with those and find out what is really going on, we're a lot more alike than we are different. So those are our people that we're speaking to.
It's kind of like that question of asking who you are, right? Like that truth, that like putting ourselves in a box, so to speak, right? But like we're not that cut and dry.
Yeah.
That's why even when I ask it, I'm like, oh God, this is a challenging question. Like we're all so complex.
Yeah.
Which in that complexity makes us similar.
Yeah. I have a joke where I ask the audience to objectify me, and so it's just a very like vulgar look at my female body, and then at the end.
And can I give some color to that?
Yes.
I mean, when I saw you do it, you like arm up, like butt out, like looking back at us, like you were on a stripper pole.
Yes.
Like it's in your face.
Yeah. Because I feel like everybody feels they're allowed to look at my double D breasts or my butt or hips or legs, back, whatever, and have an opinion about it, you know. And I'm even kind of pissing my family off because I'm like, I'm cutting my hair, which is a thing that I've always done as a form of rebellion or boredom. I don't know what the line is, but I really want to do like a chopped cut. Like a bob cut, and my family is just like, don't do it, and I'm like, I've never listened to y'all, so why
now?
It will be fine. But yeah, I ask the audience to objectify me, and then sometimes I use this tag. The event that you were at, I didn't, but I say it doesn't matter because I'm just the light inside. So it is to that point of like, who are you? We're all just this light, you know, and we've all made up like, because I have these boobs or this vagina or this hair or this attitude from past experiences, like that's who I am, and it's not.
It's not that. Yeah. So how did you come to comedy? Like, how did you decide that that was your thing?
I've always been that kid or cousin or child that's just like, Darah, get over here. Darah, be quiet. You know, I've always kind of known, I guess, where people's insecurities are. I know that it's a level of like insensitivity that I'm able to kind of pick at that, but I'm also funny and charming. Performing arts has always been my thing, and I tried out for a lot of arts programs when it was, you know, my season to be in college. And because I didn't get accepted into the School of the Arts or the BFA program at UNCG, I thought, okay, well then I'm not supposed to be on stage. And that really dimmed my light by a lot, by a lot. And my husband, who is an angel in my life, spoke over me to get back at what I love. He encouraged me to go back on stage, so I started back like with improv first, and then heard about a stand-up comedy class that was being offered, and I like that responsibility and that adrenaline that comes from that more than a team building. I was an only child for a long time, and then my mom married my dad, who brought another child into the relationship, my sister Shalisa. What's up, girl? And so I think with that kind of upbringing, I can stand alone for long periods of time, even in my day-to-day life. Like, I'm really boring, and I think that you know, a lot of different research is coming out about like what an introvert is now for real, and I guess that would be me. I love people, and I can light people on fire because I'm full of such power. In order to harness that and harvest that, I love being by myself and being quiet. We just had a friend pull up. That was weird.
There's so much noise going outside, so that's not a normal occurrence in this neighborhood, but there's just a lot going on.
I love it. I love watching people when they're doing normal stuff. Like, he's just getting out of his car on the phone, but we're like looking at him.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
I get into that. We're like people watching, but in a very like, what'd he have for breakfast?
Kind of way, yeah. So I'm curious, like, you deal with some pretty heavy issues in your comedy.
Yeah.
Like, how do you just put that out there? And like, can you talk about some of the issues that you like to grapple with?
Yeah. I love to talk about race because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And so when people are so attached to their idea of what it means, I get that we live in a culture and there are different boundaries that are set by the culture, but not by babies that love each other. You know, we don't start out that way. And so I guess I'm just reverting back to that, to be like, it's all bullshit, y'all. You don't have to adhere to the fact that society says you're this because you present as that. you can be just whoever you are. And so I kind of like poking a finger in that. Also, my dad, who is technically my stepdad, but he's the man that raised me, so he's my dad, my father. He is black. My sister is black. My 2 closest friends are black. My husband is black. Like, I'm surrounded by the black experience. And growing up, people always thought that I was mixed. And I just accepted it. I mean, it made more sense because my dad is black. But I never pretended to be anybody else other than myself. You know, and then you have these anomalies like Rachel Dolezal, and I'm like, I didn't know that was an option. I
didn't even know who she is.
So she's kind of this social phenomenon, short story. Look, my husband, when he listens to this, he's going to be like, oh my God, of course he's talking about Rachel Dolezal. Is this woman who was born white of 2 white parents and assumed the identity of a black woman. She started rising in the ranks of the NAACP chapter in her town, and then it came out that she was white, and it made national news.
Yes, I have heard this story.
So my joke is that I didn't know that was an option. I didn't know that you could just say you're black and now you're black because you wear micro braids. Like, I didn't know that that was an option. So yeah, race is one. Sex is obviously one that I speak about on stage a lot. Because, you know, we're mind, body, and spirit, and body is a huge part of that. And sex is fun, and, you know, I've always been shamed for wanting to be a sexual person. And it's like, that's part of the cool shit in life, you know?
We all want it.
Right. And not just like
people.
Right. Right. You know, and it's not just like the peach emoji and eggplant emoji about it. It's like the getting dressed up and feeling sexy and the flirtatious part and, you know, kind of hitting people over the head when I get on stage. And it's like, oh, what does this pretty girl have to say? And then it's like, yeah, bitch, I'm pretty, but let's talk about some things. I also have really big boobs. Let's get over it.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite Instagram posts that you did was like, rocking my mustache today.
That's so cool that you say that. My mom gets on me all the time, like, oh, so you're not waxing now? And she even went so far as to get me one of those, they look like pens, and then they have like a little razor on the end, and she has asked me now 3 times. She tried to give it to me for Christmas. I was like, I don't want it. And then she tried to give it to me for my birthday, which is in January. I'm like, I don't want it. And the last time we went home, she's like, are you sure that you don't want it? And I'm like, Mommy, I'm fine.
Talk about that. Like, please, if you feel comfortable. Because I can rock my mustache too.
Right.
I mean, we all got one, right?
Right. One of my favorite stories to tell about my mustache is in middle school. My best friend asked me, aren't you just so embarrassed that you have a mustache? Which they had a mustache too. And they were like, I can't wait to get rid of it and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but you're a boy. And like, come to find out, he's like gay, and he like, you know, he had other things around what facial hair meant to him. But I'm like, I'm a girl and I have a legit mustache. Like, it's allowed for you to have a mustache, you know, and got picked on it all the time. Facial hair has always been such a...
It's almost like taboo.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it's this thing that we all have to some degree.
Yeah.
Yet it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like we're not gonna
Yeah.
talk about this thing
Yeah.
that we all have. I also have a mustache story from grade school. So my little brother,
Mhm.
like we're sitting at some like school function in like the school gym with a whole bunch of other people, right? And my my brother, who's 6 years younger than me, turned to me and like was looking at me really intently. And he was like, Alisha, you got a mustache.
Oh my God.
Are you going to do something about this? This very little, small child boy. You know?
Are you going to do something about that?
You're a girl. What are you going to like?
Right.
Like, we all got hair.
Another one of my favorite mustache stories is with my best friend, Shamika. She was like into high fashion and different things when we first met, and so I was always trying to keep up with her. I had just recently like cut all my hair off, and I was just trying to look like cute. And I don't know why I got into this, but I started bleaching my mustache, which I've now learned does not get rid of your mustache. It just makes your mustache white. And it seems like a good idea at first until all your body hair is pitch black except for this like patch. And so her and I were on campus at UNCG, and we had met up with some friends. And the way that we were standing on these stairs, I was taller than her, which she's taller than me in real life, but whatever that means. And I'm standing on a step that's higher than her, and she asked me something, so I looked down at her, and the sun was like coming through my mustache, which is such a weird sentence to say. The sun was coming through my mustache, and she was like, "Oh shit, I forgot you had a mustache." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right, the bleach doesn't take it away, it just like hides it for a second, but that second is fleeting."
Yeah. Do you talk about that in your comedy ever?
Yeah, I've tried to bring it up. I say that my mustache has a lot of 14-year-old boys like super jealous. I'm super jealous. I'm trying to get the wording right. I did find a bit that I wrote in a journal that I'm like, okay, I think that's the wording, because I like it to be kind of something that you would hear like a middle schooler say, where it's like has a little bit more cuss words in it than it should, because it is like a very middle school aggression that I have towards my facial hair, because now I just don't care. I think I'm beautiful anyway. And it would only follow that I have a mustache given these eyebrows and this hair. Like it's not like, oh, that girl don't have a mustache. It's like she's just hiding it. But the reason I let it grow out so thick for that post, not specifically for that post, but when my baby was born, I wanted them to have an idea of like naturalness, and not me chasing this idea of like what it means to present cleaner than I am or more beautiful than I am, and just like your hair is growing, my hair is growing. And that's really how it started.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm in this Facebook group, and one of the writing prompts was, what I really feel about my body is. And you know, what I came to and what I've been coming to personally is like, I love who I am. I love this body. Now, is it softer than I want it to be sometimes? Am I seeing the gray hairs? Am I seeing the crow's feet? Yeah, but that's what happens when you age. And like realizing that it's society that's told me to not like this body as it is, and that's a radical act.
Yeah.
And I feel like what you're doing is saying the same thing. You're saying, I love me as I am, and that is also a radical act.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
You saying that reminds me of something that happened just yesterday that happened when I work out, and that's I have a big bit about that just because my trainer is a dear friend of mine who is insanely gorgeous. And so I pick on him a little bit in my routine. And he's like such a hermit that he would never come out, but I always invite him. I'm like, if you want to watch me publicly hit on you, you're welcome to come to my show tonight. And he's like, I think I'll stay in with my wife. And I'm like, okay, stay sexy. And he do. He do stay sexy. What's up, Sean? Yesterday, working out, there was, I don't usually have a partner, but yesterday I did. And she is someone that I would have physically envied growing up. Tall, slender, a lot of boobs considering her frame. Enough meat in the right places, but definitely slender upon looking at her.
Right.
And when we were working out, I was using heavier weights. And, you know, we all have like a different competition in our head. And so I was feeling myself with the heavier weights. And it was one of the first times that I'm realizing as an adult that I was able to go, I'm cool enough in my own body that I would rather be this stronger version of myself, meaning physically stronger, than to be so envious of her look.
Right.
And so it just made me feel sexy. And so when I came home, I was like, babe, I banished this really weird thing that I've always had in my mind. Like, I want to be taller. I want to be skinnier. I want to be, you know, all these things that I'm not. And yesterday morning, I just settled in like, I'm a badass. I'm strong. And I am so cool just as myself that I don't have to sit here and be envious of another woman. I can empower her through cheering myself on because I know that I need a cheerleader. So yeah, it was just a really cool feeling to experience that yesterday.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, is there a project that you're working on right now that you're really excited about?
Yeah. The Idiot Box, downtown Greensboro, 503 North Green Street. Hey. They hold annually the Ultimate Comic Challenge, the UCC. And September 20th, which is a Friday, at 8:30, I'm going to be performing there. It's going to be a hot 5. And I'm performing against one of my all-time favorite people, JD Etheridge, who him and Micah Hanner have their own podcast. It's called The Open Micers. They are phenomenal. They are hilarious. Micah's in Atlanta now, and JD is all over the place in North Carolina. Saying that to say that I am honored to be performing the night that he's performing, because if I make it, I'm assuming he'll make it because he's amazing. He's my favorite comedian in Greensboro, in North Carolina, and they place, you know, they see who all is submitted, and then they kind of put everybody in a group of who can they really rock with. And so I feel honored to be in the lineup with him. Also a guy out of Chapel Hill named Will Purpura, and he is insane is the only word that comes to mind. But I envy his energy when he's on stage. He gets to that like really sweaty physical comedy quickly, and I'm just like, ugh, I love that. It's like, I feel like being on stage is like dancing. And when you see somebody else that you want to like, ooh, I hope that I'm on the dance floor with them at some point so we can share a dance together. These two men are the type of people that I feel that way towards, that I just feel honored to be a part of sharing that night with them. So that will happen the 20th of September. And then there's going to be semifinals, which I pray to be a part of. And the finals are usually around my birthday weekend. So I'm trying to celebrate on stage. But just, you know, speaking that out. And I haven't performed in this in years. I did take a break from comedy when I was a righteous drunk and almost ruined my marriage, and then we had a baby, but whatever. Took a break from comedy, and that was years ago. That I was in the UCC before, and I did make it through the first round with a wild card pick, which is to say, like, the comedians know how hard you've worked, so we're going to put you through. But I pray to get on through my own talents and the audience being like, she deserves to go. So
we should all come out and support you.
Yes,
And rock you. You know, I had never gone to a comedy show before, and I came to see you.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and it's totally outside my comfort zone. Like, I don't like to do anything past 8 o'clock at night. And, like,
I did want to say thank you to you for that, because I remember you posting.
I really want to, like, come support you and what you're doing, and like, I don't like crowds, and but it was awesome to be there and to see that and to experience it, and and then I took an understanding energy course, and one of the things that we had to do is we had to make a list of things that make us laugh, and there were only like 3 things on my list, and I was like, oh Lord, I need to, like, maybe go to those comedy shows a little bit more.
Figure out what's funny. I love that these bells are chiming. Every time me and the baby are outside and some bells are chiming, I'm like, those are mommy's bells. I love hearing, like, the bung, bung.
Yes.
I'm, like, counting down.
Yeah,
Hey girl, there it goes. Get it, girl.
Yeah, so those were, you know, we live, and you're very close to me. Yeah, and so I live like a block away from a very massive church, and it's like what I hear on the hour, every hour.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, another project that I'm into is working with Eyes Up Here Comedy, which was founded by Aaron Terry out of Raleigh.
And that's what this show I was at, yeah.
Yes. So it is giving a space for women and non-binary women identifying people to have safe space and just space in general, because a lot of shows are just like boys, boys, and more boys. But you won't get away from dick jokes when you come to my show, because they're just funny. But anyway, yeah, working with them and trying to instill a culture around women on stage in Greensboro. She meaning Erin, is rocking Raleigh, Durham, obviously, and Asheville. And we're just trying to bring it to the triad to get more visibility for people that are trying and succeeding and may not have space, because it just seems like everything's such a damn boys club.
Oh man, I know the feeling.
Yeah. So we're just trying to make it fun and lighthearted, and I always feel super creative when I'm sharing the stage with Erin.
It was a great lineup. I mean, obviously I don't do that on a regular basis, so I don't really have perspective to know, but I really enjoyed everybody that was on stage, and I was like, I need to follow that person and that person.
Yes.
And,
yeah. I love hearing, especially women's stories, but anybody's story really, which is ultimately what I think comedy is just like us screaming into the void, where, you know, to speak about what we were talking earlier is like, I'm so sad, or I'm so depressed, or I'm so X, that I need to find a space to get this out, and shining light on those things and finding what is funny, because everything is so funny. I was going through your former guests and different posts that you had put, and the one, I'm blanking on the woman's name, but it was a business, and it was talking about we're all a miracle, and they kept saying that it was fleeting, that it was terminal, and I'm just like, scream your story, that's all you have. I mean, time is such a weird thing anyway, so we don't really have that. I mean, so just do what you can. And what I can do is share my story and be really funny in doing that, because I've just always been funny. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so much noise going on outside today. So listeners, I hope you stay with us.
Yes.
Enjoy. Yeah, it's like everything is funny. Like, it's just funny that there's just so much noise happening around us. But that's life, right? Like, there's so much noise happening, and it's our jobs to cut through that noise.
Yeah, and be heard.
Which is what you're doing. Like, you're standing up and saying, listen.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
Yeah. Another thing that I bring on stage is my my kid, which I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate them more on stage. But just interacting with them and sharing space as a parent with my husband, with this person that we've brought, is like so interesting. And so I love talking about language and how it pertains to somebody that has never spoken a language before. One of my, I haven't put this on stage, but one of my favorite things to do is that when we're out in public and my baby is trying to convey something to me, which, you know, I'm trying to understand their language, and they're trying to understand me, when they're taking the time to formulate words or like an idea, I'll be like, speak English, this is America. I love to do that. I love to do that in public. It's so inappropriate, but I just love it. I've done it multiple times. Oh my gosh.
So, Darah, if you could go back.
Darah,
oh my god.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
Well, that's like people call me Alisha.
I know you would listen back and you'd be like, ah, crap. No, it's fine. Darah. That's all good.
You
Yes.
could sit back or sit down.
You don't even know me. No,
and tell your high school self.
Yeah.
One thing, what would it be?
Oh my God, dump Vincent. Dump him. Dump him. Dump Vincent. Darah, where's the camera? Dump him. Darah, dump him. Oh my God, he haunts my dreams. It's okay.
That's not good.
It's okay. I am finally getting to a place where I love him for being my first love, for being a lot of first things, and letting that go. No, he's a beautiful person, and I wish him love. I haven't talked to him in a decade, but I think about him a lot, and I pray for him and his family a lot. I would also say that's my immediate thing. Is like,
don't we all have one
right.
of those?
Yeah. Oh, peace. I would say don't give up on the stage. And don't take everything so personally. When I didn't make the School of the Arts, when I didn't make the BFA program, which is the Bachelor of Fine Arts, which is just like a more intense version of whatever field you're going to go into. So mine was performing arts. I just gave up. And thought, well, this is my sign. But the sign is what makes your heart beat? What makes your heart jump when you think, yes, I'm going to get the opportunity to do that? And being on stage is my thing that does that. Being in front of people. And growing up, my family was always like, you always want to be the center of attention. You always want to da-da-da-da. I am naturally the center of attention. And I've only recently come into that within my marriage. Being able to be in a relationship with another person that is so dynamic, meaning my husband, and having the freedom to express myself in the beauty that is this obnoxious force of whatever I am. I don't know. I've always been too much for people. Darah, you're too loud. You're too this. You're too that. You're too whatever. And my husband has given me permission, and not in like some Handmaid's Tale kind of way, but just in a way of like, Darah, you're allowed to live the way that you want to. And if it brings your heart joy to do these things on stage, then do that. And he can see when we are out how attracted people are to us in general as a couple. But specifically me as a performer or as just a funny person in any kind of social setting. giving myself permission to lean into that and not take advantage of people anymore, where like, you're attracted to me, so I'm going to shock you. It's like, you're attracted to me, so I'm going to sit and love this connection that we're making. Because now I'm not afraid to be myself, so I don't have to like thrust it on you or hide it from you. I can just be. And
to be able to step into that power. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So, man.
Don't you wish we could all step into our power in that way?
Yeah.
Like, don't you wish we could just like wave a magic wand and everybody would be bringing their true whole selves out into the world in that way?
Then there would be no need for like war and stuff. I hate that word, and I hate the idea of having to battle something out, but that's such an internal thing that we do that I guess people feel they need to like inflict on other humans or ideas that are just none of your damn business. Like, just be okay with you. Then you don't have to fight me, because you'll be straight with yourself and you won't take anything personally. I saw the 4 agreements, and that was a big thing. And one of the things that I read before that night that I performed was, don't take anything personal. So even if you suck tonight, which is, highly unlikely, because of all the practice and the hard work. If you suck tonight, it doesn't matter. If you kill it, it doesn't matter. You had a time to shine your light, so just do your best, which is another one of the steps. So if I do my best, I know that I'm going to kill. And it doesn't matter if nobody else liked it. I got to shine my light, so I don't need to care what you think about what I did. I felt very humbled after that night because I knew that I had such a good time. I wrote a couple new bits that night, and I just felt super creative, and like I kept thinking, thank goodness I got to be the vessel that brought this joy to all these people in this room. I love that feeling. When we were in couples counseling for many different reasons, but which is not a bad thing.
Everybody should
look,
be
I'm getting
counseling.
like super nervous. I'm like,
but you know what? I tell all of my clients that we should all be in counseling.
Yeah,
I've got like
you can't figure it
referrals.
out.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah.
Just like coaches need coaches, and we have to just sit with our stuff.
One of the things that my counselor had brought up was my style of loving, and it was so vividly clear to me that I am like this purple laser of love, is what I called it. And when I love somebody, it's just like, and you're like,
Third eye,
you're like, get away from me. You're too aggressive, like this is, but I'm like, I love you, and then when she asked me to do an exercise of how that might, she didn't phrase it like this, but how it might dissipate the intensity. She asked me to invite my angels into the space. And so I do have a specific angel, or 2 or 3, but namely this one that came into my space, and it was like this fog that filled up inside of me, and the lasers became like this ambient light. And so I was like, okay, I need to do for myself so that I can dissipate these lasers, so that I'm not overwhelming everybody so much. And I knew that was my responsibility. But then it also let me know how I like to be loved. And when I'm on stage, that's how I feel.
You want everybody to shower you with the love.
They're just like staring at me, waiting to be funny. And then when I am funny and they're like roaring back at me, I just feel so good. Even when they're not. I think that is funny too, because my comedy is so, I tell different poems, I do different characters, you know, and people are just like, what the hell is going on? Why is this person doing it? It's not like, so I was sitting on a park bench, right? You know, it's not like set up and then punch. I'm just kind of like,
you're kind of telling a story.
Yeah. And so even when I'm in settings where people don't get me, you know, or people in the lineup are like, this room is dead, or they don't get it, or, you know, I'm just like, man, whatever. Let me go out here and see what I can do. Yeah. And a lot of my comedy is like pulling the rug out from underneath them and like inviting them to sit down, but in a very aggressive way. Like, we're the same, sit down. You know, not like stand up and judge me, I'm gonna sit down. It's like, no, whoop, have a seat. Yeah, let's, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I really enjoyed with those visits with her, because my therapist was finding out where that balance is. Not everybody wants to be loved like a laser, but I do. And finding out that is what I do because it's what I need. Mm-hmm. So realizing that other people don't necessarily want lasers pointed at them. So figuring out how to balance that within myself, and then finding something that showers me with lasers because I can absorb it. And oh my God, I love it. I love it. And I love it when people come up to me after shows and, you know, oh my God, I eat potted meat too, or I have facial hair too, or because the bit that I did, it was in Raleigh at a Eyes Up Here comedy presentation. I did touch on my facial hair, and a lot of women came up to me like very emotionally, but like in a congratulatory way, like, you said it, you know, you talked about it. You know,
that's how I felt when you posted about it. I was like, you did it.
Yeah.
You just said that. Yeah.
Because it just, you know, if my mom feels like it's okay to talk about it, then I can talk about it. I don't want the magic wand, mommy.
Yeah. So, what else would you like to share?
I know we had talked about my love for the Twilight series, so I would like to talk about that.
I love Twilight. Yeah, I think I should.
Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob? Stop it.
Edward, come on.
Okay, thank you, Jesus. Oh my God, when people are like, I'm Team Jacob, I'm like, he don't win.
And you know what? I couldn't do the movies.
Okay.
Because I had created this fantasy in my head, and I didn't want somebody else picked those characters to be my thing. So I read all the books. I read them cover to cover. I even, when I was working at Lincoln, took a vacation day to read the second book.
Which is my favorite. New Moon is the best.
It's been a while. I think it's been like 10 years since
I
read them.
I need to, oh my gosh, now that you say that, yeah.
So, you know, I hope that folks will embrace their love of Twilight if they love it.
Yeah.
So they know that two strong women
yes.
love this Twilight series.
Yes, and please be on Team Edward, because if you are Team Jacob, bye. Bye-bye. I actually got into reading after that. I had graduated college. I moved home with my parents, and I was kind of making fun of my sister because that's all she reads is young adult novels. And at the time, we were young adults, so I don't know why that was so pertinent to me to like make fun of her for the thing that's like branded to her. I'm sorry, Shalisa. I find myself apologizing as an adult where I'm like, that was such garbage that I treated you like that. She's like, I know, I've been known. I'm like, okay, well, I'm finally realizing, so Shalisa, I'm sorry.
I did the same thing with my sister.
Like, I was such a jerk to you. Let me read it, and then fall in love with it. So as a joke, I think I started reading them and couldn't put them down. And I was never a good reader at all. And now I would consider myself a reader. I'm always reading something. And it was because of those books that I felt like this push towards a good story and how it can brighten your day to like fulfill that story, or like, oh my God, my break's over in 5 minutes. I got to get through this chapter, you know, and just like that weird sexual tension of a teenager. I loved that.
And that pull between two characters. And
yeah. And like, I cannot do this or I'll die. And then it's like, I will die for it. I'm like, go girl.
We all felt like when we, like, I don't know, I think that a lot of teenagers have felt that way. I mean, that's where Romeo and Juliet comes from. I mean, we've all, like, when your hormones are raging and you're in love and they're in love with you, and the angst that comes with that. Like, it feels like life or death.
And nobody understands you. Nobody
gets you. Nobody else has ever felt this way before.
I'm the first person to fall in love. Y'all let me fall in love. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. I did watch the movies and I loved them. I remember going to the theater with my sister
to see them.
And the way that they do the last one has like a dream sequence, like during the fight scene. You know there if you've been there, but anyway, during the fight scene, me and my sister were literally on the edge of our seats.
Well, maybe I do need to like invite myself over to your house and we can have a movie night.
Please, you are invited to my house. Let's do it. Yeah, for me, I think the characters were like perfectly cast, and so I did connect with them on that level. I thought that the way that they were pictured was really cool, or like filmed. And at first I was kind of peeved that they had different directors for each one, but like, who cares? Like, Darah, you there's one girl in North Carolina that disagrees. Let's let's not do it. But now looking back, it's like the different styles of how people chose to express this love story. I think it's really cool. Oh man, it's so weird being an adult and thinking like, I'm gonna talk about important stuff, and then you're like, I'm gonna talk about a young adult novel that's like 15 years old.
It's so relatable though.
Yeah.
I think that we're gonna get a lot of comments about the Twilight Love and the Edward and Jacob.
Please get off the page if you are Team Jacob. No, I need to stop hating.
Yeah,
people
be
really
careful.
love it.
I think I'm gonna get hate
Oh,
mail
you're gonna
about
bite
this
me. You're gonna
episode.
bite me. You're gonna turn me into a wolf.
So, how do you live a life of abundance?
Ooh. I got real quiet, right? Oh man. Believing that what my heart tells me is right. Like my mantra for September is I'm good for the economy. I have a lot of shame around my college loans. So if you know anybody at CFNC, hook me up, please. Please get them off my back.
So many people can relate to that.
Yeah, there was a moment in time where I'm just like, okay, one of my girlfriends just sent me a meme too that's like, due to financial difficulties, I will be dying now. Like, and that, it's just like, you'll be forgiven of these debts if you die. Like, just die, and then you'll be done having to owe us money. Which is another reason why I bring that up on stage, because I'm like, what are we doing with it? Like, you told me this was important, and now I'm stuck. Like, really. Hassan Minhaj just gave this beautiful, eloquent, funny, to the point, like statistic-laden speech to Congress about just forgive us. Y'all set us up to fail. And it put so much like self-hatred and made me question my self-worth behind what money I owed to somebody about decisions I made when I was a child, that I felt like there was no other option for me. Everybody else is at school. I can't move home. I'm going to sit here and fail these classes than to go home and say, this isn't for me. I didn't make the program that I wanted, so I'm not going to pretend to be doing anything else. Oh man. Why did I bring that up? Oh, for my mantra, I'm good for the economy. I remember after that night at Scuppernong Books, what's up, Brian and Steve, and Shannon? I just kept thinking, I'm good for the economy. I brought all these people to my friend's establishment. My friends got paid that performed. My friends got paid that run this business. The people that came got their money's worth. I'm good for the economy. So even though CFNC thinks that I'm negative $45,000, I am so much more than a number that somebody could hold against me. But I'm also capable of generating and playing along in the game. And so instead of being scared, I feel very empowered that my time is coming because I am taking the time to answer my calling.
Yeah, I could feel that in my body when you said it.
So yeah, I am good for the economy.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
It is my pleasure, Alisha. This is so cool. Thank you for doing this, and keep doing it, because I love hearing from women, and wise women are women. So thank you.
Thank you.